I need to tell someone what happened on Flight 747 before they find me. Before they make me disappear like they did to the others. The official report says mechanical failure, engine malfunction. All 238 passengers and crew gone. But I was there. I was on that plane. And I'm the only one who made it off. The question that's been keeping me up for 3 weeks straight. Why me? Why am I still here? And what did I really see in those final moments before everything went dark? This is my testimony, my confession, my warning. Because if what I suspect is true, then none of us are safe. Not on planes, not anywhere. 3 weeks ago, I was just another business traveler. Marcus Chen, 34, software consultant, flying from Boston to San Francisco for a client meeting. Red-eye flight, 9:15 p.m. departure, standard Tuesday night. Nothing special. I remember checking in at the gate. The boarding area was packed, families with screaming kids, business people on their laptops, college students with oversized backpacks, normal airport chaos. But there was this feeling, like static electricity in the air. You know that sensation you get right before a thunderstorm? That heaviness? It was like that. I brushed it off, told myself I was tired. Too much coffee, not enough sleep. We boarded at 8:45. I had seat 12A, window seat, left side of the aircraft. I always book window seats. Like to see what's outside. Now, I wish I hadn't. The guy next to me in 12B was already asleep before takeoff. Middle-aged, gray suit, wedding ring, briefcase shoved under the seat. 12C was empty. Lucky us, extra space. The flight attendants did their safety demonstration. You know the one nobody ever watches? Pointing at exits, demonstrating oxygen masks, the whole routine. But I noticed something strange. One of the flight attendants, this young woman with dark hair pulled back in a tight bun. She kept looking at me, not casual glances, intense stares, like she was trying to memorize my face. When our eyes met, she quickly looked away, but her hands were shaking. I could see it from my seat. The laminated safety card trembling in her grip. I should have gotten off the plane right then, made up some excuse, grabbed my bag, walked off. But I didn't. We pushed back from the gate at 9:03, 8 minutes behind schedule. The captain's voice came over the intercom, smooth and confident. Good evening, folks. This is Captain Stevens. Welcome aboard Flight 747 to San Francisco. Flight time approximately 5 hours and 20 minutes. Weather looks good. Should be a smooth ride. Tonight, smooth ride. Yeah, we taxied for about 10 minutes. I put my headphones in, pulled up a podcast, tried to relax. The engines roared as we accelerated down the runway. That familiar push back into your seat as the nose lifts. We were airborne. For the first 90 minutes, everything was completely normal. The guy next to me kept sleeping. People around me read books, watched movies, worked on laptops. Flight attendants came through with drinks and snacks. But that flight attendant, the one who'd been staring at me, she was gone. I didn't see her after takeoff, not once. And when I asked another attendant for coffee, I mentioned her, described her. Dark hair, bun, early 20s maybe. The other attendant, this older woman with kind eyes, gave me the strangest look. Sir, we don't have anyone matching that description on this flight. Are you feeling all right? I insisted I'd seen her during the safety demo, right there in the aisle. The attendant just smiled that professional smile and brought me water instead of coffee. Like she thought I was drunk or something. That's when I started feeling it. That wrongness, that sense that something was off. We were about 2 hours into the flight when the turbulence started. Not the normal kind. This was different. It came in waves, rhythmic. Like the plane was breathing up and down, smooth and steady and completely unnatural. I looked out my window. We were above the clouds, wing lights blinking against the darkness. Stars above, cloud layer below. Beautiful, actually. But then I noticed something in the clouds. A shape, moving parallel to us, keeping pace. At first I thought it was another plane, but it was too big, and it didn't have any lights. Just this massive dark outline against the clouds. I pressed my face against the window, trying to see better. The shape rolled like a whale breaching, smooth and fluid. And for just a moment I saw, I don't even know how to describe it, texture, like skin, but not skin. Organic but wrong. And along its side, lights, not navigation lights. These were different, bioluminescent almost, pulsing in patterns that hurt to look at. I blinked and it was gone. Just clouds, nothing else. My hands were shaking. I told myself, I'd imagined it. Fatigue, stress, maybe. I dozed off for a second. But then the guy next to me woke up. He turned to me and his face was pale, sweat on his forehead, eyes wide. Did you see it too? He asked. Outside, in the clouds. Tell me you saw it too. I nodded slowly. What was that? He shook his head. I don't know. I've flown hundreds of times. Never seen anything like that. We need to tell someone. We pressed the call button, waited. Nothing. Pressed it again. Still nothing. The guy unbuckled his seatbelt and stood up. I'm finding a flight attendant. He walked toward the front of the plane. I watched him go. He turned the corner into the galley area, and he never came back. I waited 5 minutes, then 10. The seat next to me stayed empty. I unbuckled my own seatbelt and went looking for him. The cabin was quiet, too quiet. Most people seemed to be sleeping. The few who were awake had this glazed look, like they were drugged. I reached the galley, empty, coffee pots still on, half-filled cups on the counter, but no flight attendants, no gray suit guy. I called out, "Hello, anyone?" My voice echoed strangely, like the cabin was bigger than it should be. I moved forward toward first class. The curtain was drawn. I pulled it aside. Every seat was empty. Not just empty, pristine, like no one had ever sat there. No pillows, no blankets, no headsets, just rows of perfect, untouched seats. But we'd boarded a full flight. I'd seen people in first class, a woman with a baby, an elderly couple, a businessman talking loudly on his phone until they made him turn it off. Where did they go? I ran back toward my seat, past sleeping passengers who didn't stir, past empty galley, back to row 12. I looked around the cabin, really looked, and I started counting. There were maybe 20 people in the entire cabin. This was a Boeing 777, seats for 365 passengers. We'd boarded full, I'd seen it. Packed gate area, no empty seats. Where was everyone? I pulled out my phone. No signal, expected, but the time, it said 2:15 a.m. We'd taken off at 9 p.m. That meant we'd been flying for 5 hours? We should be landing soon, descending into San Francisco. But I looked out the window. Still dark, still flying level. No city lights below, just endless blackness. That's when the screaming started. From the back of the plane, a woman's voice, high and desperate. "Let me out! Please, somebody help me!" "They're in the walls. They're in the walls!" I ran toward the sound, down the aisle toward the rear lavatories. The screaming stopped abruptly, like someone had flipped a switch. I reached the bathroom. The occupied sign was red. I knocked. "Hello? Are you okay in there?" Silence. I tried the door. Locked. "I'm opening this door!" I announced. I used my shoulder, forced it. The lock gave way. The door swung open. Empty. Completely empty. But the mirror. There was writing on the mirror, in condensation, fresh, like someone had just written it with their finger. "You're the last one. It chose you. Don't look outside." I stumbled backward out of the bathroom. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it would explode. Don't look outside. But I had to. I had to know. I went back to my seat, pressed my face against the window. At first, I saw nothing but darkness. The usual view from 35,000 feet. Then my eyes adjusted. We weren't flying over land. We weren't flying over ocean. We were flying through nothing. Void. Absolute emptiness. But not like space. This was different. It had texture. Movement. Like we were inside something. Living. And in the distance. Shapes. Massive. Incomprehensible. Moving. With purpose. Some looked almost geometric. Impossible angles. Structures that bent reality just by existing. Others were more organic, writhing, pulsing, with appendages that stretched for miles. And they were all moving toward US. I fell back into my seat, covered my eyes, started praying, and I'm not even religious. That's when I heard the footsteps, slow, deliberate, coming from the front of the plane. I looked up. It was her, the flight attendant from the safety demonstration, the one who supposedly didn't exist. She walked down the aisle toward me. Her movements were too smooth, like she was gliding, feet not quite touching the floor. She stopped at my row, looked down at me. Her eyes were wrong, too dark, too deep, like looking into wells that went down forever. "Marcus Chen," she said, and her voice sounded like it was coming from everywhere at once. "You were chosen, selected from 238 possibilities. You will be returned. The others have been studied." "What are you?" I managed to whisper. "We are curious," she said. "Your species fascinates us. You build machines to defy your limitations. You fly through air you were never meant to breathe. We intercept these flights sometimes, take samples, learn, but we always return one. To remember, to warn, you are that one, Marcus Chen." "Why?" I asked. "Why me?" She tilted her head. That movement was wrong too. too far, like her neck had extra joints. Because you will struggle with what you've seen, you will doubt your own memory, you will question your sanity, and when you speak of this, no one will believe you. That suffering interests us. She raised one hand. Her fingers were too long, too many joints. She touched my forehead. Everything went white. When I came to, I was in a hospital bed. Bright lights, sterile smell, machines beeping. A doctor stood over me. Mr. Chen, you're very lucky. You were found in a field in Wyoming. Severe dehydration, hypothermia, but otherwise unharmed. Do you remember what happened to the plane? The plane? I croaked. Flight 747. You were listed on the manifest. The plane went down over the Rockies. Mechanical failure. No survivors except you. Can you tell us how you survived the crash? Crash. They thought there was a crash. I tried to tell them. Tried to explain about the thing in the clouds, the disappearing passengers, the void outside, the creature pretending to be a flight attendant. They sedated me, said I was in shock, trauma-induced, psychosis, gave me pills, sent me to therapy. The official report came out 2 weeks later. Engine failure, mid-flight catastrophic malfunction, plane broke apart over the mountains. All souls lost except one survivor who was miraculously thrown clear. They found wreckage, scattered debris over 50 square miles, burned metal, charred seats, even bodies, or what they said were bodies. I went to see the crash site. They let me as part of my healing process. The wreckage looked real, felt real, but something about it was staged, too perfect, too complete, like a movie set dressed to look like a disaster. And when I looked closely at the wreckage, I found something that made my blood run cold. Serial numbers on the debris, engine parts. They didn't match a Boeing 777. They didn't match any aircraft currently in service. I took photos, documented everything, brought it to the NTSB, to the FAA, to journalists. No one cared, or they were told not to care. 3 days after I started making noise, my apartment was broken into. Nothing stolen, but all my evidence? Gone, photos deleted, notes missing. Even my laptop's hard drive was wiped, and I started seeing them, people in suits, always watching, standing on street corners, sitting in cars outside my building, following me. One of them approached me last week. Young guy, dark glasses, earpiece. Mr. Chen, he said, you survived a traumatic event. It's natural to want answers, but sometimes the answers are more dangerous than the questions. For your own safety, I'd suggest you stop looking. Accept the official report. Move on with your life while you still can. That was 3 days ago. Tonight, I'm recording this in a motel room 2 states away from where I live. Paid cash, no credit cards. Left my phone at home. Bought a burner. I don't know how much time I have left. I don't know if they're already tracking me. But I needed to get this out there. Someone needs to know. The flights keep going. Every single day. Thousands of planes, millions of passengers. And they're out there. Watching. Waiting. Choosing. Maybe they've done this. Hundreds of times. Thousands. Taking flights. Studying us. Returning one survivor each time with a story no one will believe. Creating crashes that look real but aren't. How many accidents were actually them? How many grieving families were told lies? I've done research. Found patterns. Over the last 50 years, there have been 73 commercial aviation disasters with one sole survivor. 73 each. Survivor reported strange occurrences before the crash. Missing passengers, unexplained phenomena, creatures that shouldn't exist. Every single one was labeled as trauma-induced hallucination. Every single one was silenced. I found 3 of them. Reached out. 2 refused to talk. The third, she cried when I described what I saw. You saw them too, she whispered. The things in the void. I thought I was the only one. I thought I was crazy. She'd seen it 30 years ago. Been living with it ever since. Medicated, isolated, broken. Don't end up like me, she said. Tell your story. Make people listen, even if they think you're insane. Because one day, they might take a flight that doesn't come back, and they'll wish they'd believed. So that's what I'm doing. I'm uploading this to every platform I can. Find Reddit, YouTube, conspiracy forums. Anywhere that might host it, they'll probably delete it, scrub it from the internet. Find me, silence me. But maybe, someone will see it first. Someone will listen. And maybe the next time you're on a plane, sitting in your seat, watching the safety demonstration, you'll look at the flight attendants. Really look, check their eyes. Watch how they move. Count the passengers around you. And if something feels wrong, if you see something in the clouds that shouldn't be there, if people start disappearing, Get off that plane. Fake a medical emergency. 'Cause a scene, I don't care. Just get off, because if you don't, you might end up like the 237 people from Flight 747, studied, cataloged, gone, or worse. You might end up like me, the one they returned, the one they chose to suffer, the one who has to live knowing the truth. While everyone thinks I'm insane, I hear them sometimes, at night, whispers in a language that isn't human. I see shadows move in ways shadows shouldn't. I feel them watching, always watching. They told me I was chosen, that my suffering interests them. I think they're feeding on it, on my fear, my isolation, my slow descent into madness, and there's nothing I can do. No one will help me. No one believes me. I'm trapped in this nightmare, forever marked, forever changed, forever theirs. So please, please, if you're reading this, if you're listening, if you're still out there, don't fly. Don't trust them. Don't believe the official reports. And if you do have to fly, if you have no choice, just remember what I said. Watch, listen, count, and if anything seems wrong, run, because they're out there. They're real, they're waiting, and next time, the one they choose might be you. I can hear footsteps outside my door, heavy, deliberate, multiple people. They found me. I don't know how much longer I have. This recording will upload automatically in 5 minutes. Maybe it'll survive. Maybe someone will hear it. Maybe it'll make a difference. Or maybe I'll just become another disappeared person. Another silenced witness. Another tragic suicide. Another crazy conspiracy theorist who couldn't handle reality. But I know the truth. I saw what's out there. I survived Flight 747. And I'm telling you, we are not alone in the skies. We've never been alone. They've been there the whole time, watching, studying, taking. The door handle is turning. They're coming. Remember my name, Marcus Chen. Remember Flight 747. Remember that 238 people didn't die in a crash. They were taken, and remember, when you're 35,000 feet in the air, trapped in a metal tube, hurtling through the sky at 500 miles per hour, you're not safe. You've never been safe. The door's opening. I can see them. They're not human. They were never. Oh God, no, they're not. They're